Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. It's coming up to 4 a.m. here now, Sunday morning, and I decided to spontaneously record this video. So there will not be any nice edits or visuals to show. My video guy is no doubt enjoying his weekend, and I don't want to interrupt that for him. I just wanted to share a few thoughts for those who are interested in listening for now. So I'll share some thoughts on three things. One, what I hope to accomplish with digital assets inside of Earth 2. Number two, a few things about how the resource locations will go live, the first resource locations. And three, a little touch on the next vlog about the research lab. Since December 2020, that is 1 month after Earth 2 launched, I started publicly referring to Earth 2 as a platform, and doing so on a number of different occasions. I have clearly stated in the past that we are building a metaverse, and a real metaverse is going to be more platform-like than game-like. However, as I've also said, one of the key requirements for a metaverse is a 3D interactive environment, and that environment should 100%, without a smidgen of a doubt, include game-like features, gamification everywhere. Well, everywhere if I had my way, and trust me, I'm always trying to get my way. My wife often jokes about me trying to make everything into a game, a challenge, and when I'm driving I take the shortcuts. I always try to do something in the shortest amount of time, all for fun, so she's always joking about that. So fun, strategic gameplay is incredibly important for Earth 2. That is why I refer to gameplay so often over various videos and times. And building Earth 2 is more than just a little bit like building a game, a dream opportunity for someone like me. So yes, a platform. I see Earth 2 as a gamified metaverse that is centralized and brings things together. So you will see portals leading to places outside of Earth 2, inside of Earth 2, into games. You'll see Web 2 and Web 3 having the ability to be represented inside of Earth 2, and a lot more. Anyway, let's talk a bit about how games started out in general. I'm just going to summarize this at a very high level. I'm aware that there are rabbit holes we could dive into when navigating such an interesting topic, but let's steer clear of those for now. Traditionally, when games started to become a thing, you would pay for a game itself. You need to wait for that game to be released, but after it was released, you could buy it, install it, run it on your console or your PC, and enjoy the game, most of the time alone as a single player, with some multiplayer options if you went to a LAN or a party, like a LAN party, or had like a multiplayer console. But let's just say that at that time, most gameplay was very closed off. Every game would have some kind of digital asset, whether it be gems, digital cash, loots, and even Mario would have the coins. Sonic Hedgehog would have rings. There's different types of digital assets in many games, and traditionally you would earn those assets through gameplay. You wouldn't need to spend any more fiat or any more physical money to acquire these things in game. You'd already paid for the entertainment up front. Then, as the internet adoption rose, games instinctively moved to utilize this newfound connectivity between people all over the world. For the most part, you still paid for the game up front. You think StarCraft, Diablo, Counter-Strike, Quake, there's a long list, but the fact is, you still paid for the game up front, but you could also play multiplayer at no additional cost for the most part, aside from whatever you needed to pay for your internet. Internet costs were quite a bit back then, but or the console or the PC you needed to run your game from. Most game companies who released these types of games would support online servers to play on and would hope to pay for that support with new sales of their games as it became more popular, and sometimes with new expansions to existing successful games that people would pay extra for. Sometime later, game studios began to focus on the free-to-play game model, where anyone could freely download the game and play it, but instead of paying for a copy up front, you would access the very base version in the game, and you would earn a few basic things here or there in the game the more you played it. It also introduced the concept of players needing to purchase in-game non-refundable credit to buy digital currency or digital assets And you only have to look at games like Fortnite, Roblox, League, and too many others to list to see how successful these types of games can be if built in the right way and experience mass adoption. Game studios realized that this was the new holy grail. If you could somehow manage to create a hit free-to-play game with in-game purchases, there was a good chance it would be far more successful financially than the traditional RRP games. Everyone wanted the new flashy things that others had. They wanted to stand out, buy things that they can relate to, digitally beautify their characters they have formed a bond with and a relationship with. I mean, it's just like the digital world is representing what happens in the real world, and people derive happiness from this, which I think is great. If playing a game makes someone happy, if they're happy when spending their time on that game, then I think that's a good thing. That's a great thing. It doesn't matter what game it is, doesn't matter whether I like the game or not. If they're spending their time on it and they enjoy it, that's a good thing. What I personally wasn't too fond of was the fact that, in my experience, you could not resell these digital assets or not even gift them to a friend unless you gift them at the time of purchase. I know this is nothing new for many people, or we've become used to it now, but I'm just sharing my thoughts here. I personally discovered this after my son and daughter asked me to play Fortnite with them, which I did, and I love the game. I love Fortnite. It's a really fun game, really well made, and a lot of entertainment, a lot of free entertainment. But it was frustrating when I wanted to give my daughter one of my skins and I couldn't. I had to buy a new one and gift it to her, which I did, but I didn't agree with it. And this happened back in 2019, and it was another reason for me building the Earth 2 MVP the way I did. I also realized there were thousands of dollars of purchases from my bank account that my kids were making, and that was through 2019. Those $1,000 of purchases went to Roblox, they went to Fortnite, they went to League of Legends, and I thought, wow. Free-to-play has come this far. I mean, why would they sell a game for $50 to $100 when they could make hundreds or thousands of dollars per player with in-game purchases on a free-to-play game and not even give that player the ability to earn or recruit anything on what they had purchased? I 100% get it. This is their business model, and there are numerous reasons why they would run this type of model. And as I said before, if a game makes a person happy, then it's fine. But I realized in my personal situation, I thought it kind of sucked that these digital items that I paid for had no legal way of being resold and therefore zero legal resale value. Not even the chance for me to sell it to someone else at a fraction of the cost I paid. Yes, this is their business model and it's their right to run the company the way they want to, but I just didn't agree with it personally. Now, why was all of this important? Because through this experience and other similar experiences, it pushed me that little bit harder to launch this little geolocation or metaverse concept I'd been sitting on over a number of years and ensure that that platform, my platform, was different. And this leads into what I hope to accomplish with digital assets inside of Earth 2. I very nearly launched Earth 2 as a crypto project. We had all of the backend ready with smart contracts linked directly to Ethereum. However, the law firm that we employed advised us to launch in fiat due to the unfavorable image crypto had at the time, with all the dodgy ICO scams and the fact that most governments were not crypto friendly at the time, and just to avoid the uncertainty, because we had every intention of launching Earth 2 as a legitimate metaverse platform. It just grew too fast. The last minute change did not alter my desire to allow players on Earth 2 the ability to freely resell digital assets they owned. I realized we could still do this with fiat, and we did. I wanted to treat digital goods like real life physical goods. If I paid for it and I owned it and I had it in my possession, I had, or I should have, the right to resell it. I realize irrefutable ownership is a big part of what blockchain is, and the technology used to mint things like NFTs is very cool. Though I don't personally agree with how the technology is abused by many in the NFT space, but that's a whole other story in itself, so we'll leave that for another time. As has already been publicly stated, we will be moving Earth 2 digital assets to blockchain after we deploy our utility token Essence later this year. So that, again, for another conversation. Anyway, blockchain and Web3 stuff aside, long term, I wanted to create an environment where the players of Earth-2 not only had the ability to resell digital assets they owned, but also become heavily involved with the long-term gamification of the Earth-2 metaverse through ownership of different types of digital assets. Supporting and rewarding player creativity is a big part of Earth-2 moving forward. We want players to be creating things that can be used or displayed inside of Earth-2, which in turn will add more utility to Earth-2 digital assets. However, it's not only about player creativity and expression, but also about an element of player control inside of our metaverse. Or you could even say the ability to be involved in the trade and distribution of these key digital assets that are usually distributed in a game. So the player is like kind of in control of this, which I find very interesting myself. One of the reasons I wanted to do this. You can already see the beginnings of such things with jewels, for example. Well, first, let's go back to look at how a traditional play for free game operates. And Earth-2 will be a play for free platform. The first play for free account type will be the EcoSync player, but that will be followed by the P versus P player. And we already have the we already actually have the creative player, play for free player on Earth-2. Anyone can create a free account right now. They can access free to play when any of these other types become available. But we have people right now on Earth-2 create holo buildings, for example. You don't need to own land to create a holo building. And pretty soon we'll be launching our holo building marketplace as well. So people can literally come onto Earth-2. They don't have to buy any land. They can create cool digital items using our holo builder and sell those to other players who may wish to place them on their property. But anyway, so if Earth-2 were a traditional free-to-play game, you would be buying jewels directly from us. And those jewels would be used in-game for various reasons. So you would be buying the jewels from us directly. But in fact, with Earth-2, what we're doing, we don't sell the jewels directly to the player. At present, we provide the opportunity for landowners to collect the jewels for free on their property at no additional cost. So they've already purchased their property. There's no additional cost for the jewels to be collected on their property. That is, the players do not pay anything extra for those jewels. And it is the players, not us, not Earth-2, who can sell the jewels to other players who might want or need them at various points in the game. Who does this benefit more, Earth-2 or the player? The player, of course. Instead of us charging a fee, an initial fee to purchase the jewels from us, we basically gift them to the player, and we made a clear decision to do this when we first launched jewels. Jewels already play a part in boosting ether collection on mentals, but long term they will serve a lot of other purposes too. Many different things that have not yet been released. Using different recipes, jewels can be crafted into different tiers right now to provide other benefits to players. Many players don't have the time or knowledge about how to craft jewels, me included, so they prefer to buy them from players. And this is, I guess, in a small kind of way, it's almost like our first play-to-earn gameplay. But we don't make a big noise about it because it's fairly limited right now. Jewels have unlimited resale between players. That is to say, they can be traded between players as many times as the players desire. It's not like a traditional play-to-earn game where you can only buy from the centralized system and then you can't resell it. You can resell it as many times as you like. So instead of Earth-2 selling jewels directly to the player, we allow the player to collect the jewels, use the jewels or craft the jewels, and sell them based on supply and demand on our platform. And jewels are just one example. Another example is Essence. When Earth-2 launched, there was no promise or mention of Essence. Essence was introduced at a later date to benefit the player and become a core core digital currency in the Earth 2 ecosystem. Instead of selling essence directly to players, we allow it to be earned via gameplay. Granted, this is quite easy for now, but this will become more difficult over time, so players collecting essence these days are quite lucky, as I've said on a number of occasions. Again, essence will be traded between players on an exchange, so if you want more essence, then what you're going to earn, or what you are earning in the game, you'll have to buy it not from Earth 2 but from another player which has earned that essence already, and that has a more direct instant benefit to the player than it does for Earth 2. And these are the things that I stand for. Now, ecosystem buildings. I know that we have not yet released costs for building ecosystem buildings, but I can tell you right now, it will have very little to do with players spending extra fiat on buying them from Earth 2. I want players to be able to build their ecosystem buildings from toiling their own land and trading with other players, not from spending extra fiat to buy a building from us. So you'll be trading with other players who've put the effort in to get the building blocks or the raw materials that you need to build your ecosystem buildings. That trade will be player to player. It won't be coming from Earth 2. Earth 2 will not be benefiting in any kind of sales there. So to be clear, it won't be like, okay, you need to pay Earth 2 $4.95 for this building and $9.95 for that building. I don't want this. This is not in the plan. When I launched Earth 2, I wanted to add more and more purpose and utility to the land. Just like in the real world, you own land, you toil from it, you trade, you build, you create. So when I talk about what I hope to accomplish with digital assets inside of Earth 2, this is what I mean. Building a game design and a tech tree that stems from owning land, not about trying to get more money out of the players. It's about owning land which will allow a single player to own a small property and work their way up, or a free-to-play player to join and work on larger properties that players with larger land-holding portfolios don't have time to manage. Though there will undoubtedly be some situations with where Earth 2 receives additional fiat revenue, I'm trying to keep them minimal or non-existent where possible. And, we're in this together. So that's why I've not allowed things like pre-order your research lab now for $4.95 and so forth. Something many other platforms do, especially in the crypto and NFT space. Pre-order this now. So my point is, instead of us trying to sell anything and everything to our players, I want to focus on design that allows players to build and trade from the land that they have already purchased, and invite free-to-play players to come in and collaborate to participate in the Earth 2 ecosystem. Players will, of course, need to spend or lock up essence in order to generate raw materials, but essentially all of those come from the land at no additional cost to the player. So it's all about the gameplay from the land. Everything revolves around the land in one way or another. Long term, Earth 2 will continue to generate revenue from new sales and fees from trades on our platform, and a number of other areas which I guess there's a number of other areas which I don't have time to go into now, but there's a lot of other areas where we will also generate revenue to support the Earth 2 platform going forward. We also have options to raise capital should we ever need to. We could raise over $100 million pretty easily and boast a few global headlines like other platforms do. I could sell all my shares tomorrow and retire a few times over, but at the end of the day, I want to keep pushing through with what we have and aim to do as much of this or all of this alone with our community. So if we ever had to raise capital, it would be strategic and completely on our terms. Okay, I've spoken way too much on this subject. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to take that long. I'll quickly cover the other two topics, and if anyone could create a YouTube timestamp chapter thingy, please comment it below, and someone from my channel will copy and paste it into the video description so people can access the chapters, because I know this has gone a little bit longer than expected. Otherwise, I'll have someone from the office do it on Monday, so no big deal. So the second thing I wanted to talk about is for when the first resource locations go live. We will be showing binary data on existing properties. That is, we will be showing whether a mineral or a resource exists or not on a property, not exactly how much just yet. The plan will be to start with gold and oil heat maps and get those live on the production server, then run tests for a couple of weeks to ensure everything is as it should be on the live server, and then proceed with rolling out other resource heat maps. Remember, if you thought you had gold or oil or any other type of resource when we roll it out on your property, but it does not appear, do not panic. You will have the chance to follow the validation process when that goes live, which is still on schedule for Q2. So that's all proceeding okay for now. So the general process will be for you to create a validation submission for the resource you believe should be on your property if it's not on your property. Others in the community can then validate if they believe it is correct, and so if they believe that your validation is correct, other people in the community can join and validate that process. Then we will have an internal team on standby who will confirm final validations. There will be rewards for those who validate correctly. Obviously, the reward for the player who owns the property and validated correctly will be the access to the resource that they've requested. And there will be another reward for community members who back up that validation. But there will also be penalties for those who try to trick the system. So please be 100% sure you're correct. We don't want to waste man hours on validating, valuable man hours on validating properties from people who are trying to trick the system to say they've got something they haven't got. And that goes the same for anyone supporting a validation. So if you throw your support behind a validation, you do a little bit of due diligence. You're going to get rewarded for validating correctly, but make sure that what you're validating is actually correct. This is a community-driven thing. Let's make it work well, and let's see how that goes. One thing I need to stress is we will be showing binary data for existing properties. We're not just showing a map of where every gold or resource is located around the world. We're only going to show the ones where existing properties have that resource or not. Do not buy new tiles in a hope to find gold or oil unless you understand there's a risk that you will not find gold or oil on those tiles. The plan is to get this gold and oil heat map data live later this week. And the third thing was a comment on the new vlog, which will be posted over the next 24 hours, and future vlogs for that matter. Listen to these vlogs carefully, guys. There's a lot of information in them, and we do tease details on things to come. This is our way of keeping things interesting, as there is undeniably a waiting game for things to be developed. Any platform's the same. Things take time to develop. And, when these things are getting developed and rolled out, things like videos, like the devlog, they provide little hints of things to come, and they create a few talking points to discuss leading up to the next vlog or the next update. So, just listen to them carefully and feel free to discuss them in the community. Also remember, the footage you see of the EcoSim buildings is phase 2 footage. It's all about creating a more fun and interactive experience for phase 2. It's about doing things in step to keep things interesting as we slowly build on our Earth 2 platform over months and years to come. This metaverse or the metaverse, it's not something that will be suddenly built in a day. It will gradually happen over years. Earth 2 is a visionary product, and I see no problem with creating foundations today, and when and where we can make those foundations more interesting or more fun, we 100% should be doing so. One of the things I've personally been working on, amongst many other things these days, is some new PVSP gameplay that will actually take part on a global scale inside E2v1, if we can get it to work the way I want it to work, which it looks like we can. So it's very exciting. It will make the EcoSim a lot more interesting, and a lot more risky and rewardy to play. So P versus P, for property owners, we're still classing P versus P as like an opt-in kind of thing, but there's some tweaks to some other areas which they will be very fun. They'll be risky and rewarding. The people who know about my idea are very excited about it. So, you know, hopefully that's something else to look forward to. There are many things going on in the background. So just be aware of that. Thanks for your patience. Hang in there, and remember, one day you'll be complaining about there being too many things to do on Earth and not too little. So until next time, take care, keep safe, and goodbye.